Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the Beecham Mono Cube. Yes, I spent a lot of time listening to this because, first of all, there was stuff I hadn't heard. And second of all, because there's a lot in here. 53 CDs, well packed. I mean, 80, 85-minute discs. And especially with some of the earlier stuff, really is a remarkable achievement, I have to say. And also because I had to do a lot of cross-checking, and I haven't even finished it, but then I said, the hell with it. If I don't talk about this thing, by the time I'm done checking everything out, it'll be too late. Because Beecham's recorded legacy is really complicated. The reason is that he made recordings for Columbia and for EMI, or his HMV, Warner, whatever it was called. And for part of that time, they had a cooperation where things that were recorded for HMV were released in the United States on Columbia and vice versa. There's also some stuff on RCA too, if I'm not mistaken. And most of the Columbia stuff was able to be included here, but not all of it. Like the Sibelius First Symphony, Delius Massive Life, I think there's a bunch of other things that didn't make it in here. But a lot of stuff was licensed from Columbia, so I'm totally confused as to what made it and what didn't, and exactly why. There's a whole booklet note thing that purports to explain it, but it still doesn't cover sort of individual works. So well, most of it's here, so I'm happy. It does not obviate the need for a Sony box of Beecham stuff, Beecham Mono stuff, which is never going to happen probably at this rate. So, and I'm not exactly sure what would be in it entirely. So, it's a thing. It's all I can tell you. It's just a thing. But boy, oh boy, there's some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful performances in here. Absolutely outstanding. We're going to go through them. You ready? So let's get this. Oh my goodness, all 53 CDs. The bottom line is you should get this. I mean, if you care about Beecham and his repertoire and that stuff, you should just get it and not worry about it. Well, we have a little booklet. As usual, the booklet doesn't tell us much. Well, they do talk about at least the things in there. And there's an index of works, but we have to go disc by disc. And that's complicated. So let's throw that over there and pull out these suckers. Yes, here we go. Let's take a clump and just get to it, because it's amazing how much stuff he did. Really kind of remarkable. And I will also say the remastering is really good, as far as I can tell. I mean, it sounds like they've done a very careful job. I don't know if A sounds better than B in a A-B comparison necessarily, but generally speaking, and I'm just talking about if you don't know these things and you don't have 400 versions of them already, you're going to be pretty pleased with how they sound. Just leave it at that. Okay, we begin with the Overture to the Magic Flute, Mozart's 34th Symphony, a bit of his Divertimento No. 2 for flute, oboe, bassoon, four horns, and strings, and Beethoven's Second Symphony. These are with the London Symphony, the old Royal Philharmonic, because Beecham constituted it twice, with his own money, I might add. In fact, he did all of the London orchestras with his own money. If it weren't for Beecham, there would be no Royal Phil, no London Phil, no nothing in London, basically. And so we have, let's see, except for the Philharmonia. These were recorded in 1926, for the most part. And they don't sound too bad. You can hear everything. It's kind of amazing, the early days of electrical recording, and they're okay. Then we've got, let's see, what have we got here? A Midsummer Night's Dream, the Scherzo. Well, he's no Toscanini. It's not as fast, not as clean, not as disciplined. This was an era where people played things kind of fast and loose. And there really is a truth in the pre- and post-Toscanini eras, because all of a sudden orchestras heard what orchestras could do, and they all cleaned up their act. And that included some of Beecham's stuff, too. So let's see. Borodin, the Polovtsian dances, is also kind of messy at the end. The Polovtsian March, a bit of the March from Antar, not all of it. The Rimsky-Korsakov's Antar Symphony. Then we've got Delius. the earliest Delius recordings, and Beecham and Delius is always recommendable. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. You just have to hear it because his way with it was inimitable. So you've got A Village Romeo and Juliet, The Walk to the Paradise Garden, On Hearing the First Cuckoo in Spring, and Summer Night on the River, Brig Fair, and then Kurt Atterberg's Sixth, which won the Write a Symphony for the Schubert Anniversary Competition, sponsored by the Columbia Gramophone Company. And that's the performance. Actually, it's not a great performance of the Atterberg. Modern ones are better. But it's there, and he did it in the 20s, so there it is. Handel's Messiah. Well, this sounds kind of grungy. It does. And, it's not like totally complete, and it's not the big percussion crazy one that he later recorded for RCA, which was what, Goosen's orchestration or somebody's orchestration. This is more normal stuff. And, I could go through all the business with the singers and all that, but we don't care. It's a really early recording of almost all of the Messiah. And it's fun to hear Beecham do it. I mean, the way he manipulates tempos in the Hallelujah chorus, it's so much fun. It really is. I mean, the very last King of Kings, where he's really grinding on, holding on the brakes, and so much fun. So Messiah. Then we've got a bunch of Grieg things, Grieg songs, and opera arias with Dame Eva Turner. Ooh, she was a force of nature, and they got on very well. So these are marvelous arias from La Gioconda, Tosca, Cavalleria Rusticana, Aida and Il Trovatore, and then there's a pile of La Boheme, bits of La Boheme with all kinds of singers, Lisa Purley or Dora Labette, who she had two names, Handel Nash, John Brownlee, Robert Alva, Robert Easton, Stella Andreeva, the London Phil, and the songs are with Dora Labette, or Labette, however you want to pronounce it. You've got songs by Grieg and Delius, which is really cool. Interesting repertoire there. Then Gounod, Faust in English, just what we wanted, with Handel Nash, Robert Easton, Doris Vane, Robert Carr, Miriam Lisette, Muriel Brunskill, and Harold Williams, with the BBC Choir and Unnamed Symphony Orchestra. That gets rid of a couple CDs rather easily. Handel in Beecham's arrangements of ballets based on Handel's music. You've got a couple Concerto Grossi Opus 6, number 3 movements, and then The Origin of Design ballet suite arranged by Beecham, The Gods Go A-Begging, The Arrival of the Queen of Sheba from Solomon, a couple bits from Israel and Egypt, The Lord is a Man of War. Oh, gosh, what a lovely theological thing that is. Moses and the Children of Israel, and But As for His People, and then Strauss's Don Quixote with Alfred Wallenstein cello. Oh, yeah. And Michel Piastro violin, and René Paulin viola with the London Phil. Okay. That was sort of a Beecham thing, that he did a couple of these. More Mozart. Okay. And Mendelssohn and Prokofiev. Oh, yeah. Mozart, Fourth Concerto. Mendelssohn, Violin Concerto. Down, Finster. Down. Thank you. Mendelssohn Concerto and the Prokofiev First with Szigeti. Classic recordings. And they sound pretty good. They really do. Let's see. Rossini Overtures. La Scala di Seta. The Silken Ladder. William Tell. La Gazza Ladra. And then Rossiniana. Orchestral Suite after 4 piano pieces by Respighi. Only they do 3 out of the 4. So there you go. More Borodin Polovtsian dances. Again, this time with chorus. It's horrible with chorus. Midsummer Night's Dream, Nocturne and Wedding March. The Hebrides. Beautiful performance of that. And Nikolai, the Merry Wives of Windsor Overture. Okay. Let's see if I can get this not to fall over and make a mess. Where would I put this stuff? Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'll just put it there. Okay. What's this? Oh, Delius. Okay, all the Delius, like I said, you have to hear. Paris, Eventyr, Coanga, the closing scene, 2 pieces for small orchestra. There's in this case just Summer Night on the River, Over the Hills and Far Away, In a Summer Garden. And they're all absolutely wonderful. And it seems like, I don't know, maybe it's because Delius's orchestration is often so diaphanous, but even the sonics, I mean, Beecham cared tremendously about this music. And it's wonderful. Hassan, incidental music. Sea Drift, in this case with John Brownlee, baritone. In Hassan, it's with Jan van der Gucht, tenor, and the Royal Opera Chorus, and Appalachia, along with La Calinda from the Florida Suite. Can't have too many La Calindas, can you? So that's fun. And we've got, what else? A bit of the Massive Life, the introduction to Part 2. La Calinda from Coanga. Yes, you have that again. The Ermelin Prelude, Wither Autumn, which is something like that. A couple songs. Okay, a bunch of songs. Songs of Sunset, an arabesque, and then the Dvorak Slavonic Rhapsody number 3, which is wonderful. It should get played again. And from Legends, numbers 2 and 3, with various singists and others. Wagner, Fausto. Oh, the Wagner's fun. Faust Overture, Lohengrin Prelude to Act 3, Meistersinger Prelude. He always did that well. Oh my, it's so just rotund and fun. Flying Dutchman Overture, Tannhäuser Overture and Entry of the Guests, and then live recordings of bits of Meistersinger and Götterdämmerung with Torsten Rolf tenor, Ludwig Weber bass, Rudolf Buckelmann baritone, Herbert Janssen baritone, and Tiana Lemnitz soprano as Eva. Yes, Tiana Lemnitz was like a, I think, famous Nazi soprano, if I'm not mistaken. And the London Phil. So that's all fun. And then we have the classic Beecham Tristan. Yes, with Kirsten Flagstad and Lauritz Melchior and other people singing with Covent Garden and the London Phil, the chorus of Covent Garden. You know, listening to this is kind of a chore. Most of the time when the singers are solo and singing, you can hear them fine, and it's okay. It's when, you know, there are choruses and other things happening that it all kind of clogs up and gets sort of incoherent. But it's all here on 3 discs. It's not a mixture of Beecham and Reiner. It's just Beecham, and it's wonderful to have. I mean, it really is. It's 3 discs. It's the whole thing. It's quite serious. Let's see, what else have we got? We're still doing 78s, I think, because we're in 1930s, if I'm not mistaken by now. Yes, 34, 35, 36, somewhere in there. Bizet, the Jolie Fille de Perth Orchestral Suite, La Lysienne excerpts, Berlioz, Roman Carnival, and bits of the Damnation of Faust, the usual orchestral things, and the Tales of Hoffmann Orchestral Suite, and The Afternoon of a Faun by Debussy. 9 minutes and 32 seconds. It's always good to know if they do it in less than 10 or 11 minutes. And it sounds wonderful that way. Brahms second, Beethoven second. Again, another Beethoven second. That was a Beecham specialty. You know, he wasn't into most Beethoven, but he liked the Second Symphony. And the Brahms Tragic Overture. These are fun performances. The Beethoven second, as opposed to the first version, seems to have acquired a couple of repeats or so. Unless I'm mistaken here, was I? I don't know. I think it did, but they sound awfully good. I mean, London Philharmonic from the 30s. Then we've got Haydn. Well, Beecham's Haydn is, of course, always recommendable. It's incomparably stylish, completely anachronistic in terms of its performance, practice, tempo selections, and other things, but absolutely wonderful to hear. And then more bits for the Gods Go A-Begging Handel ballet that Beecham arranged. The Haydn symphonies, by the way, are 93, 99, and 104. The last London Symphony. Mozart symphonies, 29, 31, 34. Marriage of Figaro Overture. Don Giovanni symphonies, Hafner, 35, 36, 38. And last but not least, 39, 40, and 41. All with the London Philharmonic and all done with great aplomb and no repeats, which is fine with me, actually. Oh, and the Magic Flute. Yes, of course. The classic Beecham Magic Flute with Helga Rosswenger, Tiana Lemnitz, Gerhard Husch, Erna Berger, and like all kinds of other people. Sarastro is Wilhelm Streentz. Have I got everybody here? Hilda Schleppen. No, Scheppen. It's actually not a Schleppen. With the Berlin Phil. Wow, this is a classic. It's a total classic performance of the Magic Flute. So there's more of the Magic Flute, and we're getting out of the early stuff. Schubert Fifth and unfinished. I mean, lovely. What's not to like? Suppé's Morning, Noon, and Night in Vienna. Mendelssohn's Roy Bloss, Semiramis by Rossini, Frühlingsstimmen by Johann Strauss II, all with the London Phil. Sibelius Violin Concerto with Heifetz, classic, classic, classic. Tempest Incidental Music, some of the Scènes Historiques, only one of them, Tempo di Bolero, the Festivo third movement of the first suite. Lemminkainen Legends is Lemminkainen's Return, The Bard, symphonic poem, more Tempest incidental music, done differently. And these are from, let's see, 35, 37, 38, and 34, all of them sort of in there, in that area. These are all Walter Legg productions. Sibelius and Beecham also are essential. As essential as Delius. Sibelius 4, that was, Sibelius 4 was the one where, they said to him, it's kind of austere and difficult and, how are you going to play it? And so Beecham took it on tour to the provinces and put it on every program he did, along with light, fluffy things. With Sibelius 4, he was like, who cares? And we've got Finlandia in Memoriam, Koalima, Vals Triste, on Saga, and 3 movements from Peleus and Mendelssohn, London Phil. So that's that stuff. Bizet, Carmen Orchestral Suite, just the 4-movement basic one. Grieg, Peer Gynt number 1, España, which Beecham loved and did with unbelievable schwung and brilliance. The Franck D minor, which he also loved and did a few times. And Grétry, Zemir et Azur, air de ballet, pantomime from Act 3. So these were in the late 30s, 1940. And, the sound is improving as we go. All along. Weber, Freischütz, and Oberon overtures. Lord Berners. Oh, this is so much fun. The Triumph of Neptune. I love this piece. It's so charming and fun. And the Harlequinade is so catchy. And it's great. Then we got Mozart, Piano Concerto number 12 with Robert Louis Kentner, piano. Yeah, well, okay. And The Faithful Shepherd, which is Il Pastor Fido, the suite, the ballet suite arranged by Beecham. So that's fun. And we have, Tchaikovsky 5 and Francesco da Rimini. Well, the Tchaik 5 is awfully good. It really is. And it's not cut in the finale, which I thought was kind of impressive. He actually plays it pretty straight. Francesca's exciting. The ending particularly is just insanely exciting. My goodness, they go nuts on it. The sound is rather congested, but boy, you can tell what they're doing. And then Adrian Beecham, Outward Bound, The Willow Song, and O Mistress Mine. 3 songs with Nancy Evans, contralto. So there you go. A little bit of nepotism there. Let's see, more Tchaikovsky. What do we got on here? Romeo and Juliet, which is also very exciting. And the Third Symphony, the Polish. Always give Beecham credit for pulling out the least well-known or most neglected thing and playing the crap out of it. That was his gift. Verdi, Macbeth, bits of that with Margherita Grandi, soprano, and a few other people, and with the Royal Philharmonic, the new Royal Philharmonic, as opposed to the old one. Sibelius 2, you get 2 of them in here, and they are very, very, very good. They really are. This one actually is a little slower than the later one, and it was recorded in 45, well, not 45, 46, they're not in order, 47. So you see these tracks 1 through 4, which is the Sibelius, and the last thing on the disc. Also, 2 movements from the Karelia Suite, the Intermezzo and the March at the end, and Tapiola with the BBC Symphony and the Royal Phil. Well, there's that. Chabrier, Joyeuse March, Debussy, Printemps. Oh, gosh, I love Printemps. This is beautiful performance of it. Bach's The Garden of Fawn, Saint-Saëns, Le Rouet d'Omphale, Massenet, The Last Sleep of the Virgin, King Lear by Berlioz, and Liszt's Orpheus. All with the Royal Phil, all from the 40s, and all sounding really pretty good. Really very listenable, enjoyable. Beethoven, Piano Concerto number 4 with Arthur Rubinstein. Oh, my. Mendelssohn, the Scherzo from the Octet, the orchestral version. Die Schöne Melusine, Overture. Midsummer Night's Dream, Overture. We finally get the Overture. Songs Without Words, orchestrated by Norman Del Mar. Wow, he must have been like 10. And Dvorak's The Golden Spinning Wheel. Oh, this is a fun record. Oh, my goodness. All kinds of fun goodies from the late 40s. Strauss, The Bourgeois Gentilhomme, not all of it, but most of it. And Don Quixote, now with, let's see, Paul Tortelier and Leonard Rubens. The love scene from Feuersnot, Fire Snot, as we call it, and the Dance of the Seven Veils, which is really a hot performance of that. He gets through it in 8 minutes. Ooh. Strauss 4 symphonic Zwischenspiele, interludes from Intermezzo, only number 2. And then Ein Heldenleben, which is exciting and more exciting than his later stereo remake by a bit. The Delius Violin Concerto and a previously unpublished version of the Dance Rhapsody No. 1, which is actually on the next disc. So let's see who we got here. Oscar Lampe violin, Jean Punier violin, the Royal Phil, Beecham doing Beecham-esque things. That goes there. That's CD 37. We're almost there, folks. Hang in there. Go get a drink. Take it easy. Delius, Dance Rhapsody No. 1, Dance Rhapsody No. 2, The Song of the High Heels, Songs of Sunset, 3 characteristic pieces, only one of them, the March Caprice. Ermelin Prelude, another bit of the Mass of Life. The Part 2 Prelude No. 6, On the Mountains, Wither Autumn, and 2 songs from the Danish, sung by various people who you won't really care about, but they sing okay. More Delius, the Piano Concerto, with Betty Humbly Beecham playing the piano. Betty Beecham. Brig Fair, On the Mountains, 2 pieces for small orchestra. Again, that's Cuckoo and Summer Night on the River. 3 small tone poems. We get Summer Evening, A Song Before Sunrise, and more songs from the Norwegian. He did those a lot, Beecham. He played them constantly. Delius, A Village Romeo and Juliet. Well, that was like a famous recording. Not sonically the best for its day. It never was. And it still sounds a little clogged, but it's, we can deal with it. Then there's a promotional presentation by Thomas Beecham in October 1948 for the launch of the 78 RPM set recording of A Village Romeo and Juliet. So that's really kind of cool. There's actually a lot of talking in here. It's a big promotional thing. It's 4/4/3/6/6. Okay, so what? It's 25 minutes or so of Beecham's introduction to the opera. Then Seadrift and Dance Rhapsody No. 1. Another Seadrift. He did Seadrift every 5 minutes, along with Brig Fair. So that's that. Mozart, Concerto for Flute and Harp, Violin Concerto No. 4. And Mendelssohn Violin Concerto. Well, the violinist is Heifetz. And in the Flute and Harp Concerto, you've got René Leroy flute and Lily Laskin harp. Fabulous soloists and stylish music making. It's just wonderfully, wonderfully wonderful. More Mozart, Divertimento No. 2, this time the whole thing. For flute, oboe, bassoon, 4 horns and strings. Divertimento No. 15 for 2 horns and strings. The Magic Flute Overture, Haydn Symphony No. 40. Well, when was the last time you heard that from this period? And Symphony No. 102, all with the Royal Phil. And Dennis Brain is the horn soloist. Mozart, Violin Concerto No. 3, Handel, Amaryllis Suite, arranged by Beecham, just the Saraband. And Largo, which is from Il Pastor Fido, actually. Bantock's tone poem, Fifine at the Fair. Fifine is dancing and doing fair things. Then bonus, Mozart Piano Concerto No. 16, not all of it, and rehearsal of Beethoven's Fifth, some of it. The violinist is Gioconda de Vito. Well, she was wonderful. Jack Brimmer, clarinet. Albert Kaiser, viola. Betty Humbly Beecham, piano. And the Royal Phil. Oh, the Beecham Bohème. Well, needs no introduction from me, does it? With Victoria de Los Angeles and Yossi Bjorling and Robert Merrill and John Reardon and Fernando Corena and Lucine Amara and just Giorgio Tozzi. Totally awesome. We get that. But that was also in the Los Angeles box, and it's been constantly available, like forever. Bizet, Patry, dramatic overture. Now we're sort of up into the long playing era almost, aren't we? Yeah, in the 50s. We're well into the 50s. So, now things are sounding like they normally sound like. Let's see. Grétry, Zemire et Azur, ballet music arranged by Beecham. Faust, ballet music. Messiaen's The Waltz from Cendrillon by Massenet, not Messiaen. Bizet's Roma, just the Carnival, just the last movement. And Paul Vidal, Zino Zina, Gavotte. Strange little numbers. Handel, the Haydn, Solomon symphonies. Okay, the mono ones. Those are 93 through 98. Right, 93, 94, 95, 96, 98, 97. It was elsewhere, but it's there. There's a bonus rehearsal of the Clock Symphony for 3 minutes and 59 seconds. And Beethoven's Seventh, which he always did with insane gusto, although his stereo one with the horns going insane and all that is extra fun. Tchaikovsky 4, wonderful performance of that. Really, really tightened together and pointed and balletic, and especially in the first movement. Edward German's Gypsy Suite, 4 characteristic dances. Oh, this is from, 57-ish or so. 57, 58. So we're in the stereo era. We've got the Franck Symphony, the Berlioz Symphony Fantastique with the French radio people. These are the mono versions of these. So there they go. The Bizet Symphony at C, which is wonderful. The Lalo Symphony in G minor, which was wonderful. The Gwendolen Overture by Chabrier. And last but not least, the other Sibelius Second with the BBC Symphony. And I think it says first release. There's no live recordings. Yeah, these were live. 1954 was the Sibelius. It's very exciting. More exciting than the first one there, but they're both very good. The Dvorak Eighth is a barn burner. The audience goes nuts at the end, and I don't blame them at all. Other people should really hear the way Beecham handles the finale and just lets it rip. It's so refreshing, and to hear all the fussy stuff so many people do. And it concludes with the Meistersinger Prelude, another wonderful version of that. These are with the BBC Symphony, the Royal Phil, and the sound is pretty good. And oh, wow, it's a great way to end the thing. It really is. So that's what you get. And it's a lot of stuff, and it will take you quite a bit of time to get through it, as it did me. And they are performances to be savored. The quality of interpretation and playing, it's so characterful. It's such a joy in music making when you listen to Beecham, and it's wonderful. It's also so unfussy and loving and musically pointed, and I just adore it, and so will you. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.